Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, and I'm back for more. It's 5:28, and I'll tell you what, when I throw the book at someone, I goddamn don't. I tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. You know why? Because when I was a child, I was forced to put my hand on a Bible and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And they forced me to say it was an accident. They forced me to say something that wasn't legitimately true. My sister watched me be forced to do that. And I mean, I she said to me, my sister said to me recently, a while back, and I'm not trying to make fiction, I'm trying to make fact. She said to me, they all knew that you were lying, John, in the courtroom. It was all laid on me. So my family has to live with that. And what they have to live with too is I'm standing here and I'm sitting right here in front of them. I threw the book at the government for the wrongdoing, for the police holding me in handcuffs in that bowling alley that's now called Millhouse Smokehouse. I didn't know it was after Richard Milhouse Nixon. I didn't know the connection all the way to John F. Kennedy. And this is brought to you by Little Friskies. If you'd like to have a bowl full of these, I'll feed you a bowl full of these. But you are getting extra with this because you're getting the little salmon piece and stuff. I only had the X's and the O's. Like the Republicans and the Democrats. When somebody tells me that Joe Biden's the Antichrist, I goddamn will assure you that no, Joe Biden is not the Antichrist. I will just tell you that. Hey man, I'm not doing nothing to no one. I'm happy the way I am. How do you feel today? That's the key. Hey man, do you want to make a wish? Because I'll tell you what, sometimes when you wish for something and you get it, if you come and play Stump the Johnny with me, I'm going to send you home rethinking stuff real quick. You know why? Because I have the faith in the Holy Father in heaven. And every time I sit back and I try to reassess everything and, do things, it's so funny because I tell you about the flood in the last one. I want to go back to that very flood of the essence. There's always truth to what I'm saying, so you can go back and you can check it. Why don't you call up the radio station in Centralia, Washington, Chehalis, Centralia, right there, where my wife worked. My wife worked, and I think she worked there I know she worked there at the very time, because I could turn her on the radio, and me and my son would listen to his mom on the air. We knew where his mom was. It's the way he could check in with his mom, because his mom wasn't always around all the time. And my wife was the star of the family. I just sat back and I let her have her cake and her ice cream too, and Kathy knows it. Kathy knows it. And she was a wonderful woman in the things that she did, and in the other things that she did, she wasn't such a wonderful woman. But being that who raised her and how she was raised, from a mom that turned her to her grandfather and the grandmother, I guess. I don't know exactly when the grandmother died, but Sidney Ingdahl, he came and he actually lived in our home. He stayed in the room with Brian. He put on a pair of my pants, and you want to talk to somebody that's a little senile now, Sidney. Here he is, a little senile. He come walking through the house, and I was looking for my pants. Oh, my stonewashed pants. Sidney's wearing them. And as Sidney's passing me, I'm recognizing him. I'm not saying nothing because I know he's possibly made a mistake. He's going through dementia and stuff. Boy, I'll tell you, he jacked the doctor up against the wall in the doctor's office when I took him. He says, so you brought Sid in today. He says, he has to have somebody here with him when he comes in. He says, oh, you never told him, did you, Sid? He said, well, Sydney here had me up against the wall with his thumbs up against my neck saying, I'll cut your fucking throat, John. You know, and I just smiled and said, oh, just, you never told, the doctor saying, you never told him about this, did you, Sydney? You know, so anyway, now, and also Sydney, he's in the house. Oh, God, I love this guy. He's in the house. Jerry is there with Laura, and they've also brought the late Jim Shorey around and Lynn, and they had 2 kids. And Jim Shorey and Lynn, they went out and we put them at our place, me and Kathy, and Sid's place out there on Alpha Road, like the Alpha and the Megan. It's Sid's place, not mine. And I think it's 153, which equals 8. So those guys 8 cigarette butts, and the reading signs. But Jerry broke out all the windows in Sydney's place because he has it out for old people. He killed the Merwins, but he blamed it on Nubs. Him and Nubs. Nubs ended up getting killed, by the way, so he can't talk anymore. So anyway, and Nubs was also a friend of mine that would probably come and be a friend of mine instead of Jerry's after Jerry sold him out. So, because that's what Jerry does, sell out his friends. They're just pawns in his game. So now Sydney's over there at the house, and Sydney's in the house at the on the couch with Jerry's wife and talking to him, and Jerry's wife and Sydney's having a conversation there, and me and Jerry was outside in the garage, you know, walking around BSing, you know, brother things, you know, come in the house, and all of a sudden Sydney says, well, any woman can do a man a favor. Hitting on Jerry's wife, you know, he's a little sweet talker, a little salty dog. World War I, World War II. You know, you get a kiss from a woman being a real patriot, you know. And Sydney's there sweet talking her, and Jerry goes, "Gee, you hear that?" He says, Jerry wants me to help him beat up Sydney over this. And I said, no, it ain't gonna happen, you know. And Laura, she's laughing. She's, Jesus, Jerry, you know, just, they're having a, anyway, I just wanted to throw that one in. So anyway, now back to this flood thing. You know, here the flood happened. And, you know, you couldn't get around. You couldn't drive over to Centralia. At one point, you had to go all the way up Coal Creek Road and come over the hill and come up Solster Valley and come down into Centralia. You'd get on the Alpha Centralia Road and come back around. So anyway, but before then, I was driving, and I drove to Centralia, and I went down past Skippers and stuff, and it was flooding in there, you know. Wow, you know, it's flooding in there. Walmart's been closed down, you know, and those son of a bitches, I pray that Wendy's would get it, but I didn't think nothing like that would happen. I mean, people were goddamn backbiters and stuff. And I swear this is goddamn true. I'm telling you. Hey, if you don't fucking believe me, don't vote for me. I don't care. But I'm just telling you, you probably fucking go, Jesus Christ, it's in the newspaper. There's evidence to this event. And it's funnier than fuck. And I call up the radio station, and I call for a request. He says, hey, man, how's it going? He says, things got you down. Yeah. I said, yeah, can you play the little drummer boy for me? You know, the drummer boy, because it happened, you know, like it's close to Christmas and stuff, and it was about that time of music and stuff, that time of the year. I know. Greg Watt was on as the governor, and they were going, this vortex of whatever that hit this area, we're zeroing in on this whole thing. I don't know if my mom's complaining because she's been upstairs after the flood, you know, and stuff. I mean, I call up the radio station. I ask him to play the little drummer boy. My wife works at the radio station. I don't call her up during her shift. I call her up, and I think it was Matt Shannon that was on, that took the call, or somebody, but they all know it. They all goddamn know it, that somebody called up and did this request, because I went home and And I listened to the request. I called it in on my cell phone. I went home, and I go home, and 20 minutes later, I was going to tape the fucking recording, you know, because I thought it was pretty funny to play the little drummer boy and tape like click, 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 click. You know, like the Odd Couple, Felix Unger always taking a fucking click it shot of something. I'm like the clean freak, and I've got Oscar, 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 you know. Here I got Jerry, Oscar, 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 Jim, Oscar, 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 Marietta, Oscar, Oscar, Oscar. Now I got Trump, Oscar, Oscar, Oscar. I mean, Jesus Christ, it never ends. So anyway, you guys get to know me, and you fucking either like me or you don't like me. I don't care. See, that's the fun of this. You know, I believe in the holy power. Am I a liberal? No. Am I a Republican? No. I mean, I'm right down the middle. I like whites. I like blacks. I like all people. I mean, hey, man, I've told these people I would have liked to have been born a black man. I would like to have been born a nigger. I would like to have been born this, that, the other. Anything but white. Why? Because you guys aren't nice. You guys aren't nice. You know, you're not nice to your own race. I mean, I don't have problems with black people. I don't have problems with Chinese. I don't have problems with people. I didn't have problems with Reggie, and I used to tease Darlene Jones, my girlfriend, and Kathy knew Darlene Jones. She'd let me and Darlene watch her child, which would be, you know, from another man. My wife had a child with another, but she'd let the child, Alyssa, come over and even spend the night at my house, possibly. I'm sure it could have happened over an overnight thing. Kathy moved right across the street from her. My ex-wife didn't feel like I was a threat to her, you know. So anybody that would like to challenge me, I've put everything out there, and there's a fucking things, you know, like when me and my wife got divorced, and I'll tell you, she was so into whatever it was, you know, whatever her situation is at the time. Let's see if I got a sip of coffee off this side. So anyway, you know, I mean, here in our divorce thing, here I walk out and I take out this amount of money and I just flip it through my fingers. And she says, "How much money do you have there?" And I said, "Enough money to fuck with you for 1,400 hours in court." And she goes, she just knew I'm gonna fucking annihilate her. You know what I mean? And so instead of us doing this lawyer thing, which was just, they were getting paid, we wasn't. I'm either going to fucking give Kathy the money and say, let's just goddamn make a deal to make a deal. You know, here, she needs $3,500, and she has to have this ring that I bought from the pawn shop for $500. I only paid $500 for it. I took it to the jewelry shop right downtown Centralia. There's a jewelry shop. You come down Tower Street, and there's a jewelry shop in the main street right over there. I took that guy, I had him fix it. He goes, "How much would you like for that ring, you know?" He says, "I'll tell you what I'll give you for it." And I said, "Yeah, I would like to, but I have to get that ring fixed because I got to give it to an ex-wife so I can have the custody of the child." And I explained to him what the situation was. So if the guy's still in business right there, I mean, I told the guy, you know, about the situation. And also, when my ex-wife did agree to this, she had to meet at my I don't know if my ex-wife knows, but she had to meet, we went to my ex-girlfriend's house and have the notary paper signed at Connie Natcher's house. That's over in Centralia, Washington, near the Jackpot gas station right there. And I'm sure that my wife would remember that because we actually came to the divorce together. But when me and Kathy got married, we came in separate cars and we left in separate cars. She left with Brian, her son, and then I left with Matthew, my Son, I claim as my son. I don't know if he's really my son, though. It was pointed out to me by my evil mother that, my son can annul him from me. What kind of a mother would do that to me? Uh, uh, just annul him from you, and then you can just disown him, Matthew. Well, Matthew's ran off, and Matthew's been chased off by the cops. I wonder what all this was about. What was this plotting about? Well, I'm at loss with my own son, so no one can blame me for coming forward and telling you about fucking eating seafood, or little friskies. You want to get fucking frisky? Let's do it. I haven't had a bath, and I told my sister Bonnie just yesterday, and I hope my sister Bonnie watches the videos. I haven't had a bath in a year, very limited. I clean myself. I do what I can. I got a foot fixer. I wash my feet. I wash my genitals. I wash my asshole. Are you ashamed that I'm sitting here telling you, hey man, I've been through fucking hard times, but I'm still here. Isn't that nice? And I'm having a good time at it. I'm racing around here. I'm having my lights. I'm having my fucking party. You know what? Check it out. Look around the room. I got computer, VCR. I've got the seal here. I've got race cars over here. I've got a big screen TV right there that has security monitoring. I have my one-lane bowling alley. They stole my bowling alley. I got these grapefruits, and if you don't have grapefruits this size in your pants, you did not have the balls my dad did, because he jumped out of the 727 and Donald Trump. Does it. Now, why am I against Donald? Here's these coins. They're all Donald Trump coins. I supported him. I take my support away. Why? He's cuckoo. Bye-bye, Miss America Pie drove the Chevy to the levee, and the levee is dry. And by the way, Pink Floyd, The Wall, W-A-All, no way. No. That doesn't work for me. And by the way, if you think I'm lying, I got a lion on my motorhome right out here that has a BB hole shot right in the chest of it. I'm holding this cup right here. If you'd like to come and take this cup from my hand, I'm waiting right here for you. I think the Holy Father gave me a cup to hold in front of you. Not that this is... I bought this from TEMU. It's a rep. I'm just saying. It's just a symbol. And you know what? How do you like being in the small blind? How do you like it when the dealers and the cops work together? And how do you like being in the big blind when you're blinded all the way by a bunch of cotton-picking weirdos like Donald Trump that's following signs, you guys? Look, hey, if he was up right in front, he would walk straight at you. He would walk straight at you. He would go right to justice and walk right to the thing. You know what happens when I go to court? I go to court, I sit right in the front room. I sit right at the front thing, and I'll open the gate up for you and say, come on in. I've done it before. You asked people in Lewis County. I came to court with a red, white, and blue shirt on, baby. Why? Because I've already stood up to these people, these little red Republicans, these cop infiltrators, the police, the cops that think that they are celebrities because they've ripped off the D.B. Cooper money, forced the guy to comply, or him and his family would die, and I was the guy in the rabbit cage. Like I told my brother Jim, when my brother Jim said stuff like, you speak in parables and all this, I said, I think I better put on my, just my crown. I should have said my thinking cap, like that, because when I said crown, he's like, he thinks he's what, a king? Shit, goddamn. I'm a person that believes in the Holy Father, and I believe in prayer. My mom freaks out because I pray. It floods over there. She comes upstairs. you prayed that it would flood. You don't do that kind of stuff. I'm like, what do you mean? I said a prayer. I also stood up when no one else would down there in Oregon at my uncle's place. My Betty and Clint, they had a little revival thing there at Myrtle Creek, and they had a little revival place down there. And they had this horseshoe circle there, and there's a preacher and all this little band music up there, little drums set up and everything like this, and there's a preacher going on and stuff. And he says, when everybody, close your eyes, let's say a prayer and all this, good stuff. And it's like, okay, now, while your eyes are closed, if anybody knows that they'd like to stand up, please stand up now. And then they, the guy was, I peeked. I told Bonnie and Ernie, I said, I peeked. I'm telling you the truth, man. I peeked, and this guy's counting heads, and I looked around, and I said, there's a cute girl over there. Maybe we're going to hook up later, And then, at the end of it, he goes, and, everybody's, you can open your eyes now. And it goes on for a while, and a little music and all that good stuff. And at the end of it, he says, would the people that stood up before stand up now? And I stood right up, and I looked, and no one else did. And my dad's sitting there, and he's pulling away. Oh, like he's done something I've done something terribly wrong. I said, Dad, he died for my sins. He's died for yours too. I said, why don't you stand up? I've done so much. And Judy next to him, and she's still alive, and she's in Morton, Washington. She's like, God damn, what have I done? And I got to tell you something. When this guy says, and I never told Bonnie and Ernie this, he says, why would you stand up when no one else would? And I said, well, I see and I believe, and I don't see and I still believe. And he says, this man will surely see God. Oh no, not this. Boy, I'll tell you, then I told Bonnie and Ernie, I said, after that, and I didn't tell them about this part, but if they see this video, they'll see it. And I said, and then when I walked through these people, they all wanted to fucking touch me. I would touch you. I told Bonnie and Ernie, I said, they had these expensive motorhomes that said Jesus on the back window. And I said, and by the way, since then I know a lot of other things. And by the way, the reason I got there was, how I got there was my dad and Judy took me down there because there was a shooting in Morton where little Joe pulled out a gun, nicked me in the forehead after going off of work to the 2x4, getting into John here don't like me, he says, and all of a sudden, let's go over to Joe's house, get some beer and stuff, we'll go over there. John, you drive, you're the only one that hasn't been drinking. I came from the mill, I just get off 15 minutes before closing time, and, then there's a gun incident over there, and I get nicked in the forehead. They shoved me through the window because I'm in the best shape, getting through the window. I unlocked the door. I had a Doberman look me on the face. Nice dog, by the way. I mean, it's a good dog. It's a little old, but it's nice. But all of a sudden, the woman says, he's here. Will you protect me if he comes up? Jenny Sanders said, will you protect me on all this sort of stuff? Will you protect me? Asking me. I didn't know I was D.B. Cooper's son. I didn't know I was there to be harmed. They took a shot at me. They put a hit on me. Lewis County law enforcement did that. Little Joe did it. Tromley. He ended up getting beat up. He ended up getting fucking cut up. And I did it to him. And that's the way it happened. You guys have a nice day. Thank you for your time. My name's John Wright. They're not. At least I'm telling you the truth. Hi.